there, Elizabeth Hines here from TotalWellnessHealthCoaching.com. Thanks for joining me in my office today. So this is part 2 of my Disney World in Florida eating review recommendations tips video. So go back and watch the quick service video. I'll link that up above if you want kind of more details about just eating at Disney World in general. But in this video, I'm going to talk about table service restaurants, and this is all from the perspective of a family with allergies. So myself, my husband, and my 2 teenagers, we all eat gluten-free for our health. None of us is technically celiac, but I have Crohn's disease, which is real similar, so I treat it as such. And my husband has an autoimmune disease, and the kids just, various health things. And also just because of their susceptibility to autoimmunity, we all eat gluten-free. And in addition to that, my son has some nut allergies, peanuts, and then some tree nuts. And so, like I said, in that last video, I talked all about the quick service or sort of fast food type dining at Disney World. And today I'm going to talk about table service. So now that my kids are older, they're currently 15 and 17. We just had our trip in May, celebrating 20th anniversary. We could do a few more table service restaurants. When they were younger, we did a couple character dining experiences. Until this trip, we have always traveled. The kids have been 4 times. And we had always previously been with grandparents, and so my husband and I could occasionally do a nicer dinner without the kids. But now that they're older, we let them eat with us the whole time. We were very nice about that. And so we had a few more. We had a 10-day trip this last time, and we had 5 table service meals. I keep saying 5. I really think it was 5, but it could have only been 4. Let me see. Yeah, it was actually only 4, but I'll talk about them, and we have through the years eaten at others, so I'll kind of review the ones that we have enjoyed in the past, some recommendations, some that I kind of don't recommend. Again, some of these table service restaurants at Disney are going to take a longer amount of time. Some are not owned by Disney, which means they don't do allergies as well. They don't care as much, to be perfectly honest. Disney really cares about this, and they will treat you really well. They don't make you feel crazy for asking questions about your food. They don't upcharge. Some of the restaurants that are not owned by Disney don't go by the same protocols. Those are going to be at Disney Springs and at Epcot back in the countries. I believe the others in the parks are all going to be owned by Disney, and in the Disney-owned hotels, of course. One of my big tips for table service restaurants is to use a travel agent. Yes, use a travel agent. We used Mix and Match Travel Agency. I really recommend them. It was a great experience. As far as I know, the Disney travel agents don't charge extra. This is only the second one I've ever worked with. Some other travel agents for different types of trips will charge you. Mix and Match Travel Agency did not charge us anything extra. It does not cost you anything extra to use them. It is wholly to your benefit to use a travel agent. And if for no other reason than this, they sit on hold and make your dining reservations for you. They know the order in which to ask for them. They understand the timing and all that sort of thing. I believe you can make your reservations 3 months out from your trip. So that day they have their alarm set for 6 a.m. or whatever, crazy time, and they get on the phone and they make your reservations for you. And it's lovely. And then you can go into your My Disney Experience app and you can change them. You can look for additional reservations. You can change the times. You can make adjustments, but they will make the reservations for you. If you don't want to use a travel agent, fine. But just know that if you want to have any of these table service or character dining experiences, you really have got to make reservations. It is possible to get some day off if, there are cancellations all the time. It's possible to just walk up and say, hey, we'd like to eat. Do you have any availability? There's a chance it will happen, but it's not a good chance, quite frankly. You need to do your research. You need to plan. You need to know where you want to eat, on which days. Also at Disney right now, and they have shown no signs of changing this protocol, you have to make a park reservation. So you have to plan and have a reservation to be at Magic Kingdom on a certain day. And that's the only park you're allowed to go to. If you have the park hopper option, which is an add-on to your ticket, after 2 o'clock you can hop to the other parks, but you've got to go to your assigned reserved park that day. So you need to make sure you have your dining reservations for the parks where you have a reservation, or vice versa. You know, you want to eat, say you want to celebrate your anniversary at a specific restaurant, you need to make sure you have a reservation for that park on that day. So it's kind of complicated. It's definitely worth using a travel agent. I think I will always do that going forward. And I'm a planner. I don't mind doing the planning, but letting somebody else handle some of the kind of unpleasantness of it is totally worth it. So let's talk these table service restaurants. Oh, the other thing I was going to say at the beginning is that they can take a long time. Now, our experience this last time, they were a lot more efficient than we had experienced in the past. Like, people advised us, oh, don't do table service dining with kids. It takes so long, they'll get squirrely. Well, you have to know your kids, of course, but, and like I said, mine are 15 and 17 now, so they can sit still and behave themselves. And also they've not been riding in a stroller all day, right? So their feet are tired. They're happy to sit down in air conditioning and relax and eat for a little while, just like the adults. So know your kids, kind of know what they'll tolerate. But there are some restaurants that I think are more adult than others. For example, California Grill, which is awesome. It's at the top of the Contemporary. You can time your dinner there to watch the fireworks over Cinderella's castle. That's a really adult restaurant. It's delicious. We had an amazing gluten-free meal there on our last trip. I would not have wanted to take my kids there. It just wouldn't have been worth it. They wouldn't have appreciated the food. And it just is a more adult atmosphere. I think the restaurants in the France Pavilion at Epcot are also more adult. Those restaurants are not owned by Disney, so the allergy eating there is a little iffy anyway. But they, in my opinion, not a super great child experience. One other, like, just not recommend is Tony's. I think it's called Tony's Town Square at Magic Kingdom. We haven't eaten there personally, and that's because it's really not very highly recommended, certainly not for allergies. So those are some that I would tend to avoid. Now let's talk about the good ones. The Disney resorts are a great place to go and eat meals. So if it's the hotel where you happen to be staying, hey, that's super convenient. But you can also make a reservation at any of them and just travel there in your own vehicle, use the Disney transportation, get, one of the ride sharing services, whatever. But the hotels have great restaurants, and these are a few that we have enjoyed. Kona Cafe at the Polynesian, which is kind of their mid-tier restaurant, but it's also a table service. We had amazing gluten-free food there. These sticky chicken wings. They have sushi, like a California roll with actual real crab in it. They have specials. Kona Cafe was a really great experience. There's something wacky happened in their kitchen the night that we were there, so we weren't able to get all the things we originally wanted, but we ended up with really good food and really a nice experience. And Polynesian is a fun hotel to wander through while you're waiting. Trattoria Al Forno, which is at the boardwalk, which is one of the hotels that's back kind of behind Epcot. You go across what's called the International Gateway, and there's the gondola service there. There's boat service to some of those hotels, and then there are some restaurants back in, I think it's called the Crescent Lake area. The boardwalk and the yacht club and beach club are back there. So we ate at this Trattoria Al Forno at Boardwalk, which is an Italian place. We had an amazing experience. Our waitress was actually gluten-free. We had fried calamari, gluten-free chicken parmesan, spaghetti and meatballs, delicious bread, an amazing dessert. My son had some kind of fish. I think it was either sea bass, or I can't remember what it was. Anyway, it was delicious. It was one of the fancy dishes. That was a great experience. And it was a great respite from our day at Epcot. We were walking all day. We went back, had a lovely dinner. It rained when we were in there, came out. It was a little cooler. The rain was almost completely done. It was just a nice break from the park where we really didn't have to go far. We just walked back there. I already talked about California Grill. That was a really great experience. Um, the Yachtsman at the Yacht Club, which is also back behind Epcot, that's a steakhouse, delicious. Again, I mean, you can take kids anywhere, especially at Disney. But that I would say is a more adult feeling restaurant, at least it was to me. I think things there were a la carte, like you choose your steak, you choose your side dishes. Very delicious. I think I had a creme brulee there for dessert. That was a really, really great meal. That was one of those places where I wish I could have eaten more because the food was so good and we were so stuffed. But a nice thing about eating at these sit-down places at the parks is that you have a lot of walking. You've had a lot of walking before you got to your meal. You can have a lot of walking afterwards to kind of walk it off and help in your digestion. So that's really nice. So there are tons more in the hotels, but those are just a few that we visited this time and recently that I wanted to highlight. Okay, at Magic Kingdom, we on this trip ate at this Skipper Canteen Jungle Navigation Company, something like that. It has a long name. It's themed to the Jungle Cruise, which if you have been on that ride, it's very punny. This whole restaurant is themed like that. Your server will be your skipper for your meal. We had this great appetizer of the Brazilian cheese bread, which came with these dips. I don't even know what those dips were, but it was delicious. Something that's called Taste Like Chicken because it was like a fried chicken with vegetables and rice and kind of an Asian sweet glaze. My husband got a fish special. It was delicious. It's a little more adventurous food, but they had a lot of allergy options. So some more plain things like the chicken, I think a picky kid would enjoy, especially if maybe you asked for the sauce on the side. Although it's a sweet sauce, it wasn't anything that I think would be objectionable to most children. Comes with vegetables and rice instead of French fries, so you get a little nutrition in there. But we really enjoyed Skipper Canteen. It's casual, it's big. It's one that people say they can get walk-up reservations for. Like I said, we had reservations for all of our meals. It's one that people tend to overlook. I think maybe they look at the menu and think it's a little too adventurous, but I've only ever heard really great reviews and we had a great experience. That was the only Magic Kingdom table service meal we had on this particular trip, but in the past we had breakfast at the Crystal Palace one time, which is a character meal with Winnie the Pooh and friends. And my daughter, who was 15, really wanted to do that again because she loves Pooh. And I tried once we were there to get us a reservation, but it was full the whole time. But it was a great experience. That's the kind of place where like the chef will come out and talk to you and they'll walk you, it's a buffet, they'll walk you through and show you all the things that either are gluten-free or can be made gluten-free. You can just get them from the buffet if you're comfortable with that, or they will bring you fresh things from the back, so there's no chance of cross-contamination. They'll bring you a whole platter of pastries and things to your table. I mean, again, we had so much food, I just wish we could have eaten more, but donuts and muffins and, coffee cakes and things like that. So it's a really great meal. You could eat a ton and just be full the whole rest of the day, but a really fun one too. It's a pretty restaurant, and one of the tricks there, which again, your travel agent can help you with, is to get a really early reservation so you're in there before the park opens, and hopefully you can maybe get on one of those real high demand rides before the lines are long, like the Dwarf Mine ride or Peter Pan's Flight. So Crystal Palace, I really recommend. We've eaten at Be Our Guest, which is the one that's in the Beast Castle, Beauty and the Beast. Really great gluten-free options there. You get to have the gray stuff, which is like a chocolate mousse kind of thing. They have, I'm trying to think of things that are special for gluten-free people, like French onion soup and of course breads. I think they do like a cheese tray. We didn't have that, but I'm thinking about what I have seen in recent reviews. We ate lunch there, which is a nicer lunch, and then also dinner. We did not have dinner there, but I know people that have and had a great experience. Plus you're in the Beast Castle and you can go into the different rooms, and it's just a really neat atmosphere, and the whole family would enjoy that. There's of course Cinderella's Royal Table in Cinderella's Castle, which has really gotten mixed reviews from the allergy community. I think if you have some little princes or princesses in your family that would just be over the moon about that, it would be worth it, and you would find things to eat there. It's not, as a parent of older children, it's not a place we would go just for the food, if that makes sense. You go there for the experience and the atmosphere, and you find some food to eat. We ate there when I was very little, and my parents took me, apparently, and I don't remember it. But they said it was wonderful. Liberty Tree Tavern, which is over in Liberty Square, has great reviews. People love it. We didn't eat there, but it's like Thanksgiving food, turkey and mashed potatoes and dressing and vegetables, and like really home cooked, comforting food. It just consistently gets really great reviews. That's one that's on my list to try another time. There are a couple others. Tony's Town Square, which again, I said is not really recommended. The Plaza, it's like sandwiches and things like that. But supposedly that's another one where you can sometimes get just a walk-up seat without a reservation. So that's Magic Kingdom. Animal Kingdom, I already talked about Nomad Lounge in my quick service, where it's kind of table service / quick service, and we only got the churros from there, so I can't speak to the rest of the food, but they do have some gluten-free offerings. And then Animal Kingdom also has Tiffin's, Tusker House, and Yak and Yeti, and we haven't eaten at any of those. We've only eaten quick service at Animal Kingdom. So I've heard great things about those. They're not your standard chicken fingers and burger places. So maybe not the best for a picky kid, but supposedly the food is really good and nice gluten-free options. That's Animal Kingdom. Epcot has one table service in the front of the park, and that is called Garden Grill. And that again is like home cooked food, just kind of normal things, but they get a lot of their produce from the land, which is the building, the kind of area of the park where that restaurant is located. In quick service, I talked about Sunshine Seasons, which is the quick service restaurant in the land. And then there's this Garden Grill, which is cool. It rotates. It's a character meal. You can get Farmer Mickey and Farmer Minnie and Chip and Dale. And it overlooks the land ride, Living with the Land. Supposedly it's a great like roasted meats, fresh vegetables, fresh salad kind of meal. Again, it's one I would kind of like to try sometime. And then I think they also have a breakfast. Haven't been there, but it does get really great reviews. And then you have all of the restaurants in the countries, which again, some of those are run by Disney and some are not. And so the allergy situation is different, whether it's Disney owned or not. So definitely do your research there. On this trip, I was sick, and so I didn't get to participate in this meal, but my family ate at Le Cellier in Canada, which is the steakhouse, and they loved it. It was steak and poutine and mashed potatoes and maple creme brulee. They had wonderful things to say about that meal, and nobody got sick. So that's one that is on my list because I missed it this time. So we'll have to go back and give that one a try. So that was on this trip. We ate at Le Cellier, but in the past, we ate at Royal, I don't know how to say this, Aker House, which is a princess dining, character meal in the Norway Pavilion. And I remember the tip at the time was to make your reservation for like around 11, and that's what we did. And so when we went in, it's a buffet. They had breakfast food, and kind of halfway through our meal, they switched out and it was lunch food. So we kind of got to enjoy both, which was awesome. So that's a little insider tip for you. Try to get a late breakfast seating, and that's a princess meal. And again, it's a buffet where they'll take you through and show you this is what you can have, this is what we can make for you, and they'll bring you fresh things from the back. We've eaten at 2 of the Mexico pavilions, La Hacienda and San Angel Inn. I think that's the one that's in the Mexico pyramid. My husband and I ate there when we got engaged, so that was not a gluten-free meal, but it was a good experience. The La Hacienda is out on the lake. We did eat there gluten-free and had really amazing food on our last trip, so I recommend that one. Japan has like a hibachi place where they cook it in front of you. I've heard that one can be done really well, gluten-free. Again, we didn't try that, but those countries, I would ask if you're going to use a travel agent, ask your travel agent if they have recommendations or advice. And if not, join some of the like Disney gluten-free Facebook groups. There's different websites that talk about the gluten-free eating at Disney, and see if you can get a little more intel on the specific restaurant you want to visit. But like I said, we had a good experience at Le Cellier. We had a good experience at La Hacienda as gluten-free. So, but there are lots and lots of choices at Epcot that can really cater to different tastes. Okay, Hollywood Studios. We ate at 50's Primetime again 20 years ago. That was super fun, definitely family friendly. I've heard great things about their gluten-free offerings, especially their fried chicken. The tip there is you have to order it ahead of time. So just when you get to the park that day, walk yourself over to 50's Primetime, talk to the hostess, say, hey, we have a reservation for 6 tonight. I want the gluten-free fried chicken, and they'll have it all prepared for you. They have to do something in the kitchen to be able to prep that safely. I've heard their meatloaf can be gluten-free and delicious. So 50's Primetime, definitely home-cooked country, comfort food type foods, and really highly recommended. We haven't eaten at any of these places at Hollywood Studios gluten-free. There's also Hollywood and Vine, the Hollywood Brown Derby, Mama Melrose. The one that I have heard not great things about is the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater, where your table, you feel like, and it looks like you're in a little car at a drive-in and they're showing some kind of movie. I can't quite comprehend what that's like. Like, are you listening to the movie while you're eating? Is it loud and distracting? I don't know. But I have heard that gluten-free food is basically burgers and chicken fingers. So you're paying for the atmosphere. Like, I've heard from people who ate there just because their kid really wanted that atmosphere, and the food was okay. I think they have big ice cream sundaes. So not super special food, so not on the top of my list, but certainly if that theming is intriguing to you, I'm sure it's fine. You know, you're just paying a table service price for essentially quick service food. Oh, that's it. Hotels, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot. Through the years, we've definitely eaten not as many table service meals because we're just like, go, go, go. We want to go do all the stuff. But, you know, certainly since we have started eating in this different way, you know, having to pay attention to my son's allergies and then our own gluten-free needs, we've added more table service meals just because there's special food that we don't get normally, like the fried calamari at Trattoria Al Forno and poutine at Le Cellier. You know, some of that stuff is just special that of course you can make it at home. That's what I typically do on this channel, is I show you how to make some of those kind of old favorites in a paleo or gluten-free way. But they're harder, and you know, you got to get all those ingredients, and it's really special to have those things when you're away on vacation. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this is helpful to you. By all means, ask questions down in the comments. I'll answer if I can. If I can't, I'm sure somebody else can answer that for you, another viewer. Leave a comment. I just love to get to know you. Have you been to Disney? Are you getting ready to go to Disney? Do you love it? We love it. Just going back and doing this video a couple months later has made me just really want to go again. There are lots of great restaurants that are still on my list. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please be sure to do that. You know, if you hit that bell icon, it will notify you when I publish a new video. I usually am in the kitchen cooking for you, but sometimes I'm sitting here at the desk talking about other health related things, travel tips, that sort of thing. So I would love it if you would join me. All right, I hope you have a great day, everybody, and I will see you next time.